This is Pastor Roger L. Green, Sr., pastor of the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We're welcoming you to our worship services on Sunday morning. Sunday school begin at 8 a.m. Worship services begin at 9 a.m. Come and grow with us, a place of faith, family, and fellowship. We would love to have you. Come see us Sunday morning. We'll see you there. Be blessed.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.
For those of you guys who are joining us here at the England Airport meeting, the sound is actually muted coming from the boardroom here until the meeting start. We wanted to test and make sure everything was working properly on our end, so we joined a little early. So if y'all can just bear with us for a few minutes until the meeting starts. I think it starts at promptly at 4 o'clock. So we have about 7 minutes here to hang tight until the meeting actually starts. As soon as it starts, the sound will begin.
drove in today from New Orleans. I've been coming here a lot more lately, which I've enjoyed. And my family's been in the wood business here in Louisiana since 1893. So a fifth generation family business. We've got about 75 employees around the world, and we do wood products that would be very familiar to y'all, sawmills, lumber yards, pine, hardwoods, all of that. And then about 2 years ago, and can I click the slides here? There we go.
You're in charge.
All right, I like it. So about 2 years ago, we started a new company called Robinson Carbon, and that's what we're here to talk to you all about today. And we're making something called biochar. And so biochar has been around for a long time, but is now starting to gain more attention because of the opportunity that it presents for a lot of different things. But essentially what biochar is we take wood chips, wood residues, all made here locally in central Louisiana. We don't burn them, we heat them up. And so that's the difference between biochar and charcoal. Charcoal is sort of partially burned, then you put it in your grill or another industrial process to burn it more. We heat up the wood chips, and all those flammable organic compounds, they gas off and become a source of fuel that we use to heat the process. So it's a self-perpetuating reaction. That's what we call it, a reactor. And what we make is completely chemical free, right? So we're literally just heating up wood, and once we get it started, the process heats itself up. What we make is completely inert. It's used in agriculture, horticulture, as animal bedding, soil amendments, all kinds of things. So it's a completely natural and very, very safe. This is what our production line will look like. To give you a sense of it, so there's a drying process, and then a process where we do this pyrolysis reaction. We have an advanced emissions control stack in there that makes sure that we have a very, very low emissions profile, well below requirements. And so what we have in process with you all at the air park for discussion is a phase one of our plant, which would process about 100,000 tons a year of local wood chips. 2 of those production lines that you saw, 50 employees, would represent for our company about a $5.5 million capital investment in machinery, and separate from the actual site development. And it would be across the tracks from UTLX, not far from here, which you all have had as a while as a certified development property. It's a true green field. Having stood out in the field, it's very green. And so, a lot of, I know, I was kind of thought, what do they mean by greenfield? Now I completely get it. Yeah. The site would require some significant development investment. The floodplain has to be raised a little bit, and then we'd have to build the lay down yards and truck turnarounds, and not to mention the building. All of which ends up being about, I think it's budgeted at about $3.4 million of investment in that phase one. And we have approved the preliminary engineering of that, and so that's happening now. And so for England, as we've spent more time here and gotten to know the air park and all of its wonderful people have been incredibly helpful to us, we love the idea of being part of your mission. And I think as a former naval officer myself, I love being here on base. It feels very comfortable, and the idea of repurposing this place feels great. So we love being part of that mission. And as a businessman, I really like the part of the mission that's self-sustaining, right? Like the base or the air park needs to sustain itself. And we want to be part of that. We want to be developing a business here that's generating revenues for our business, but also lease revenues and other income for the air park. And to be part of the community here, I think there's a lot of we feel like it's a good place for us as commodity manufacturers. We feel very at home in the neighborhood, and we're very excited here to be part of a significant economic revitalization opportunity for Central Louisiana. Our phase one will create about 50 jobs, but that's one of 4 phases, and this is one of multiple plants. And I'm sure y'all have heard that the wood products industry really across the Southeast, but especially in Central Louisiana, has been suffering. been a lot of plant shutdowns. The Campy Mill from International Paper last year was particularly devastating to this region. Anyone involved in the forestry sector knows that pulpwood prices have been at almost historic lows. In many cases, landowners are not thinning forests, which is a sort of a necessary evil today, but in the next 10, 20 years, will have a catastrophic impact if that's not changed. And so what our business represents is a new outlet for those wood products. And it is fundamentally something new that can be made out of wood, which as a guy who's been in the wood business my whole life is really exciting. And I think it's my generation growing up, there were a lot of Disney cartoons, and I think people believed that cutting down trees was a bad thing. But I tell you, it is the true renewable resource, right? Wood products are the absolute best thing that we could be consuming, especially if we can displace plastic products or other things like that. So it's an opportunity not just to make a price competitive product, but to make a product that is truly renewable. I think I touched on some of this, the forest products. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself there, but forest products are a significant part of Central Louisiana's economy and should be a bigger part, frankly. That's right. And so we have, we have some great customers for our products. Love to answer questions. Our overall timeline, as I said, we've kicked off engineering. We have a pilot reactor that we've been operating at a plant of ours up in Indiana. We're relocating that down here so that we can kick off hiring, training, early operations. And as the engineering drawings go out to bid, we look forward to coming back here in October to discuss a final package for your approval. And concurrent with that, we would make our final investment decision and be off to the races. On that timeline, we could be operational really probably second quarter of next year. It doesn't take that long to build once you get going. And so, ultimately our ask, we're finalizing this with staff, but it's a lease package and continued support. And so far, we've gotten everything we've ever dreamed of and more, and can't be more grateful. Yeah, I think that's us. I'd love to answer questions.
Mr. Chairman.
Sir. Mr. McPherson?
Can you just briefly go into the volume of feedstock that you're going to use as you scale up? And is what portion of it is what we would consider waste now compared to thinning rotations, or where do you derive your feedstock from? That's
a great question. And that word waste can mean a lot of things, right? And so if you went to a plywood mill, and there's several, within 20 miles of here, they all make wood chips, right? That's a byproduct of plywood manufacturing, but there's a market for it. So that's sold to pellet mills or paper mills, or it can be used as animal bedding. So some would consider that a waste product, some would consider it a byproduct. Those same mills will generate mountains of sawdust, some of which they have to pay to landfill. That's certainly waste, right? There are other parts of the forest product sector where those chips that have a market here in the Alexandria area may not have a market, and they're expensive to move. So they may just be left out to rot. And then the thinnings in the forest, that is truly a waste product. If that's left in the forest, it'll just decompose, right? It also represents a fire risk. When prices are higher, it can be economical to pull those thinnings out of the forest and send them into a paper mill or otherwise some other place where they can use that pulp. You all are probably familiar with the Beaver Lake project that was in Pineville, was canceled about 2 months ago. That plant was scheduled to consume 2.5 million tons of wood waste, or wood byproducts, fiber, per year, and that was not going to consume all of what's available. And so, like our analysis of the total feedstock availability was that we could put our full plant in consuming about 500,000 tons a year, with 2.5 million tons coming online in Pineville a year later, and there would still be more than enough to go around. So it's a drop in the bucket.
Any other questions? Mr. Mansour?
Garner, can you explain, I see a little bag here. I assume that's your end result of the product. Can you explain what you do with this?
Absolutely. That does not go in your coffee. I should have started with that. So there are lots of different markets for it. The primary market now is in horticulture and agriculture, and it's done at more of a craft level. So if you find biochar production around the United States, it's small scale, right? It's much more expensive, and it's used in higher end, like organic farming, things like that. It's starting to be used more in potting soils, like potting mixes. So if you go to Walmart or Lowe's, you could find products from companies like Sungrow that has biochar in it. And if you can picture potting soil has that little white stuff in it, looks like styrofoam. That's called perlite. We're displacing that in potting mixes, and so our product is price competitive, but also much more environmentally friendly. Ironically, people like that white thing because they feel like they're getting something. So there's some marketing around that. Those are the established uses. There's a whole realm of research around more advanced uses and pollution remediation. There's a really serious market for it as a replacement to like pet coke and sort of bituminous coal-based products that are used in metallurgical manufacturing. In fact, Weyerhaeuser and Amium have a project under development in Macomb, Mississippi, not far from here, that's bigger than the Beaver Lake project, and we'll be making, they don't call it biochar, but it's the same thing, and it's for metallurgy. So they'll be selling it to steel plants to displace, essentially bituminous coal and pet coke type products. And I'm scratching the surface there. There's university research at UL and other places into using it in cement. Asphalt's really exciting. There's a whole field of advanced filtration products, such as activated carbon. And then there's a lot of really exciting work being done around PFAS remediation and other just chemical remediation.
And I respect the fact that some of that may be secret to your company that you don't necessarily want to disclose now. I'm sure you're thinking of other.
I used to joke that in the beginning of this journey a few years ago, we had to whisper everything. We didn't want anyone to know, and it's been a humbling few years. And I think we're happy to tell anybody anything. It's a big opportunity. There's more than enough room out there for anyone who wants to do it, and we're happy to talk about all of it. It's out there for anyone who wants to do it.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I'll just congratulations, Mr. Robinson, on your business. We're excited about you coming out here. If you are assured of markets for your product, I would advise you to build larger because you are in a target-rich environment for supply.
We are.
If chips and sawdust is what you need, well, we got it in Central Louisiana. So good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. O'Quinn.
Just out of curiosity, what's the difference between this and potash? I mean, I'm just.
Boy, I wish I had our scientists with me.
No big deal.
It's interesting. So there's potash is used as a fertilizer, right? And so farmers will actually scatter potash as part of like an NPK fertilizer combo. And so our product does not have any organic nutrients in it. In fact, I was working on a slide. I didn't, but if I think the statistic is if you took a tennis ball sized piece of biochar, it would have the surface area of a tennis court. Inside, it's highly porous, and so what it ends up acting as is it can be a sort of sponge, so it'll help with water retention in the soil. It can be like a framework for microbial growth in the soil, and in many cases, some of our customers use it to mix with organics like chicken litter or digestates. And so it's like a sponge for those nutrients, and then they would put that in the ground as a fertilizer. If that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Great. Mr. Gale.
Yeah, Chair. Thank you. Garner, thank you for the presentation, and I stand in concert with Commissioner Williams on knowing that you'll probably do an awesome job here. Best of luck. You mentioned earlier that you were doing some work here already. So I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on that. And then later in the year, when you said you would come back to the board for an approval, what would that approval do for you?
Absolutely. So we started this project in earnest about 2 years ago. And we were initially focused on building up in Kentucky, Indiana, where we have a hardwood manufacturing base. And for a lot of reasons, we started looking around closer to home. And, really, so when I said that we've been coming here, I've been coming to Alexandria a lot lately, really as part of this project. I've been, with these guys and coming to visit the site and our suppliers and vendors and engineers and, you name it, right? So we have not yet done any business here in Alexandria.
Roger. Okay.
That, I think we had a slide with a picture on it, but maybe we didn't. But the reactor that we've been operating up in Indiana is literally being packed up this week, and it'll be on a truck to arrive here next week. So as of next week, we plan to start, hiring and getting operational here, bringing in feedstock. It's small scale, so it's the size of a shipping container, nowhere near as big as what we want to build here. But that's what we'll be doing very soon. And there was the last part to your question. I need your help remembering.
Yeah, what would our approval, when you come back to the board, what would that commissioner, what would our approval do for you at that time?
So
That you're not already.
we've taken the final investment decision on our first reactor setup, and we've made the decision to move that down here and begin operations. The larger build out that we described, we've not made a final investment decision on. And so it's critical that we continue to get the support that we've been getting. And what the air park is doing is developing the site for us, right? I mean, you all would be financing that and providing us with a development ready site that right now is greenfield.
Sure.
And so we'd have to come to terms, on that lease essentially. And then we would make it'd be the same time, right? I don't think it would actually have to be, one before the other, but we just want to make sure that we've got all those financial terms together and make sure that we have all the capital ready and, we got to have all the I's dotted and
Gotcha.
T's crossed before we all pull the trigger, right?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, Trey?
Gardner, how many full-time jobs are y'all anticipating once y'all do get up and running?
50 for the first phase. So we'll be hiring 10 people for what I described that's coming here next week. And then for the phase one that we want to make final investment decision on in October, that'd be another 50 total. And then beyond that, for the full 8 reactors, it doesn't quite, quadruple it, but it's north of 100. Yeah, and they're real high-paying jobs. I mean, it's engineers, operators. The machines have to run really continuously, so 24/7 for about 25 to 28 days at a time. So it's 3 shifts, and they're
Excellent.
yeah. We're excited about the opportunities here to hire some really great people. It seems like we have that opportunity, and people are excited about that.
Mr. Winstead?
This probably isn't you, this is probably y'all. In October, are we contemplating using our cash reserves we have now for the investment? Are we contemplating the bonds? Where are y'all in the process of?
All of that's being discussed right now.
So we just aren't.
So
Not there.
more to come.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be a mix. Financing this weekend.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Thank you very much. Welcome to town.
Thank you all, commissioners. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gordon.
And before we move on, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize Mr. Danny Bourdelon from the Rapides Parish Police Jury. Mr. Bourdelon, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a motion authorizing Executive Director to execute certificate of contract acceptance for the Alexandria International Airport extension of Runway 18 and associated improvements, Phase 2. Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to bring this to you. If you recall, I brought a couple of parcel acceptance to you here in the past few months. This is the final acceptance on the concrete portion of our runway extension. So we are done. It's actually in use and in operation as we speak.
Done.
So moved.
Second.
One question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to get some sort of an approach
Yes, sir. We are working on that right now. It came in a lot higher than we expected whenever we first started. So we're out on the street right now doing for bid to get the area land planed, ready for the approach. And we'll have to go back out next year and start looking for some more
Are we looking
funding.
for an ILS or an RNAV approach? Or what?
Yes, sir. An ILS, a full Cap 1 approach.
To 218 or 36?
218.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Great. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any other questions? Any other discussion? Any comment from the public? Hearing none, those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? The ayes carried, the motion passes. Item number 4, motion to authorize Executive Director to execute a lease agreement between EEIDD and CSI Aviation for Building 2107 located at 1107 Billy Mitchell Boulevard. Mr. Broussard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. CSI Aviation is one of our air operators out on the south ramp. If you recall, a few months ago, we brought a ground lease to you guys for them to bring in some temporary office space and operation space while they continued operations, but also looked towards a more long-term solution for their operations at the air park. We had a building on the flight line that was occupied by another charter company that was vacated in the last couple of months. This building fits their operational needs perfect. They're going to ramp up and hire an additional 100 employees, probably actually more than that. But they'll be able to store equipment and move in and out of the south ramp as needed for their air operations.
All right, and we have any further presentation on that?
No, sir.
Okay, any questions by members?
And I don't remember exactly, but is this the building that we had somebody else in that we were having, that they were going to try and do another building or something?
No.
What am I remember? Because there was one of the other flight services going to have to build some sort of building or a temporary building or something.
Well,
Is
this is the
This is
CSI.
that?
So
Okay.
we brought they lease a small, maybe half acre further down the ramp, and
so
they brought in.
This is going to alleviate us from having
Correct.
to put that.
So their lease on that ground lease will run out in the next few months, and then this will be where they're moving to operate.
Okay.
All right.
So move.
Make sure we're in order. May I have a motion, please?
So
Move
move.
approval.
We have a motion and a second. It's been moved and seconded. Now further discussion.
It's easy.
And the term sheet has been presented, correct?
sir.
All right. Any questions regarding the term sheet? All right, hearing no questions. Any comments from the public regarding the lease as presented and the term sheet? Yes. So this is not a question and answer session. This is a comment, and comments on this agenda item will be limited to the term sheet.
Do we have cards?
All right, so we have several cards for, let's see, number 4. We have Aaron Tracy. Aaron?
Is she outside?
She's here.
Oh, that's
I'm
State your
sorry.
name and address, please, for the record.
Aaron Tracy, Pineville, Louisiana. I am asking you to reject the rental for CSI Aviation, ICE's #1 flight contractor. The continued expansion of ICE operations is a stain on Alexandria.
Ma'am,
Y'all claim these are
ma'am,
economic
Tracy,
development
you're out of order.
decisions.
Tracy, you need to state germane to the term sheet.
It
of
is,
the
sir.
lease.
It's about CSI Aviation. You claim these are economic development decisions, but I don't see anyone getting richer except Ralph Hennessy. In April, y'all approved the resolution setting the annual salary of the executive director at $240,000.
Ma'am, you need to stick to the motion at hand. If I have to interrupt you one more time, I'll ask you to step away from the microphone.
Yes, sir. In regards to CSI Aviation, If you haven't watched the documentary Ice Air, this airport is the heart of
That's enough,
nationwide
please.
waste.
Thank you. Step away from the microphone, please.
I'll read it to y'all outside.
Violet Wild.
Violet Wild,
Please state your address.
Alexandria, Louisiana. The FAA requires that emergency evacuations occur within 90 seconds. That is impossible when these people are shackled at their wrist, the ankles, and they have waist chains on.
Ma'am, you need to stick to the
not
term sheet on the
safe.
lease, please. We're here to discuss the term sheet on renting a building. Please keep your comments to the term sheet.
History will not be kind to CSI Aviations, and history will not be kind to you for continuing to do business with them. This is not the world that we want to live in, and this is not the world that we can leave behind for our
Thank you.
children.
Would you step away from the microphone, please?
Be the men that history needs you to be.
Mr. Joshua Tellenbaum.
Do you have a copy of the term sheet available? Is there someone, is this available somewhere? I know y'all don't publish your agenda till the day before your meetings typically, so I'm not really sure where we're supposed to get that information, but does anyone have a copy of the term sheet available that we can discuss? Because I didn't hear much discussion of the term sheet during the presentation before I stepped up to speak. I'm here representing Jewish Voice for Peace New Orleans and myself. And it's pretty obvious to me, I mean, all due respect to the gentleman earlier, you had more questions about wood chips and his business than you did about what's going on in these buildings that you're renting to this company that we know is doing business here to expand and maintain their ICE. If someone came up here and spoke about how much they love CSI, the business, you would not be banging your gavel. In fact, you're not right now. This is viewpoint discrimination. You are not neutral. You are discriminating against people's views here. They're trying to discuss the nature of the party that you are contracting with.
Would you please keep your comments to the lease?
Sure. I think the economic activity that you are trying to contract with to expand this building on this runway is immoral. And there is more to a contract than just the basic terms. No one's going to present this to you and say, this is evil, but I'm here to tell you this is evil, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Reverend Liv Thomas.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Reverend Liv. I'm from New Orleans, and
Welcome.
I really liked y'all's style, starting with prayer. Someone invite us to join in prayer, please. Crucified Christ, teach us to see through the illusions of power. Keep us near the cross, where victory looks like love and strength looks like surrender. God, you sent a son that freed the captives and fed the hungry and loved the poor. May you always help us to follow in your example. Amen. My name is Reverend Liv, and I'm here to speak against the proposal to approve the lease agreement with CSI Aviation. God knows you by name and by heart. God is a personal God who knows every hair on your head. As a Christian minister and a believer in the liberating and table-turning love of Christ, the Bible tells me again and again that God knows me by name. And when a person with a name, maybe named after their abuelo or abuela, is captured by ICE, they're given a number, an A number. No longer are they beckoned by the name of their abuela, but just some impersonal numbers. No longer are they called by the name that God knows them by. Here in Alexandria at the detention facility or staging area or whatever we want to call it, Children and adults alike are stripped of their identity. It is easier to disappear a number than a person, isn't it? Fine, I'll put it in somebody else's words. How about Woody Guthrie or Dolly Parton's? Goodbye to my Juan, farewell, Rosalita. Adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You don't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they call you will be deportee.
Reverend, would you please keep your
Brothers,
comments?
do not approve this lease. Do not let God's children be disappeared here and flown to who knows where. Please. Amen.
Thank you. Patrick McGinnity.
He's here somewhere else.
All right, we'll go on to the next one while Patrick comes in. All right, Lisa Keller.
Hi, everyone. I am Lisa Keller, Keller, Monroe, Louisiana, Northeast Louisiana. I am here to express my displeasure, obviously, and we will stick with the facts. Have there been any studies concerning the toxicity to the people that will be housed on these lands?
Ma'am, we're speaking about the lease, please.
Yes,
The lease
this
on
is
the airport.
concerned. This is toxic land. Would you house your family on it? Would any of you house your family on it? Would any of you
Ma'am.
Would you house your animals on it?
Ma'am, your time's up. Thank you.
Anybody? Yes.
Has Patrick McGinnity?
Yes.
Patrick?
Clock hasn't started yet, has it? Who's holding the clock, please? Can you stop? I haven't started speaking yet.
Patrick, would you please state your name and address?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Patrick McGinty, 2115 Albert Street, Alexandria, Louisiana.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I speak in opposition to the motion. This is agenda item 4.
Yes, it is.
Blood money taken from CSI Aviation. Money soaked in pain, agony, tears, and yes, spilt blood is not a public good. This board is already responsible for establishing the major central hub of this new American Trail of Tears around this airport in our Christian family values city, my childhood and lifelong home. Please do not vote to spill more blood and tears in Alexandria by leasing with CSI Aviation. I know, it's funny. Quoting the project on Government Oversight's February article entitled ICE Inc., the top companies profiting from Trump's immigration crackdown. ICE's #1 contractor. The company with the highest amount of ICE contract revenue is New Mexico-based CSI Aviation, which provides ICE with both domestic flights and international removal flights.
Ms. McGinnity, would you keep your comments to the lease, please?
They are, sir. With CSI. I literally just told you that.
Yeah, one warning. Thank you.
Chief Executive Officer Alan Way of CSI, along with his wife and daughter, also CSI corporate officers, contributed a total of $460,000 to Trump's 2024 campaign. The company also hosted a campaign rally for Trump days before the 2024 election and lobbied for Trump's big billionaire bill. Their support appears to have paid off. In the years since Trump was inaugurated, CSI Aviation has seen its revenues more than triple from the years before, going from $364 million to $1.23 billion with a B per year of our tax dollars, $1.23 billion. To deport working immigrant families, to deport our neighbors, moms, dads, and children. Not criminals, but working families, as internal government records show that less than 14% of people detained by ICE had charges for violent
You have
offenses,
30 seconds.
and only 3% had convictions. A vote for this lease with CSI is a vote not only to waste our tax dollars, but to hurt our neighbors in Alexandria, folks who repair our houses, prepare our food, folks that y'all go to church with or used to go to church with because they've either already been deported or they're too scared to leave their houses for fear of being picked up by ICE Gestapo agents lurking around every corner. That was not my full 3 minutes.
That was your full 3 minutes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Next, we have Ms. Colleen Burris.
Won't even let the public speak a full 3 minutes. Kept interrupting me. Shame on you, O'Day Laverne.
Ms. Colleen Burris. Lou Jean Upton.
I think this is Ms. Burris. Ms. Burris.
I'm sorry, Ms. Burris?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could you please state your name and address for the record, please, Ms.
Colleen
Colleen?
Burris, 2676 Kleinert Avenue, Baton Rouge.
Thank you. Proceed, please.
Well, this is a really bad idea to be able to sign your contract with CSI or the United States government. The administration has gone rogue. This will come back to haunt you. There's a lot of policy from the administration that is being condemned in the courts. It takes a long time for these things to be adjudicated. Ultimately, you guys will be responsible for what happens in your detention centers. And I have here.
Ms. Colleen, would you please keep your comments to the lease? We're not here to discuss the detention center. Thank you.
This letter that is signed by Senator Ron Wyden is a letter that was sent to Compass, and that was the requirements that he wanted to talk with them about their responsibilities. And
You're on the wrong subject,
it's
ma'am.
probably the reason why they got out of the contract. These are very important questions that you will be responsible
Ma'am, your time is
for.
up, please. Thank you. Step
You
aside.
guys will be liable.
Officer, thank you. Okay. That's all we have on item number 4. Call the vote.
Call the question.
Call the question. Item number 4. All those in favor of item number 4 is presented, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstention? Good. The ayes have it, the motion carries.
Human rights consultant.
Ma'am, would you please have a seat?
Inhumane. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Officer.
You are going to burn in hell, you piece of shit. Fuck you.
That was very intelligent.
All right.
You're laughing? You're laughing at the, you're laughing. These are children and families. You guys start out with
Quiet. Thank you. Motion to authorize executive director to execute a lease agreement with the United States of America for the JRTC Intermediate Staging Base. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excuse me, just a moment, please.
I want him to move. I'm sorry, but that man right there
Did you
is a
ask the
hostage.
deputy to
You need to
remove
remove that
Yes.
man in the blue jacket. Stop looking at me.
Ma'am, would you please leave the room?
You need to leave the room. Why are you accosting me? I am a 5 foot tall woman. That man is I'm not leaving until that man No, do not touch me. Do not touch me.
He doesn't get to decide who leaves the room. Let her be here.
I am an immigrant and I am not. Okay, I will just listen. Why are you not gonna take him out?
Sir, in the yellow shirt. Sir,
Why can't he leave?
sir in the yellow shirt. Would you please remove yourself from the aisle and get to the door?
I can see how everybody can see. You're telling, you start off with a Christian prayer. Shame on every single one of you. Shame on every single one of you. Woo.
Ma'am, would you like to be next? Thank you.
I'm speaking on number 6, so it's not my turn. Thank you.
David, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is our annual lease agreement with the United States of America for the ISB, which encompasses a few hundred acres here at the air park in support of the JRTC mission at Fort Polk. This lease would normally have come before y'all in March to be effective in April. It's going to be backdated for April because the previous lease of 15 years expired and we negotiated a new lease. And it's in a new lease form, which has been provided to y'all. So it's going to look different moving forward. Same terms and conditions, except for a fixed annual increase instead of a CPI adjustment is what was negotiated. So it's a 1-year firm term with 14 one-year options, which is just like the previous lease. And it'll start at a slight increase. And it'll be backdated to April 1.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Winstead.
This is really a question for Matt, just asking, since this isn't our form lease, any questions, qualms, anything about this?
No, this is a standard lease where legal counsel approves the board authorizes.
Mr. McPherson.
This is, I guess, a curious question. Do we have an IGSA associated with this lease?
No, sir.
There never was one?
I don't believe there was. There was the original lease back in the late 90s. It was supplemented in the early 2000s, and they worked under what was called a supplemental agreement to that original lease. And now they're going to the supplemental agreements that I brought to y'all the last number of years were very short, and it just supplemented the amount of lease revenue they would pay us. This is a short lease form that they're going to that kind of breaks out a few different things. So they're doing the square footage of the land and calling out the buildings where they just lumped it all in before.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Thank you, David. I'm sorry.
I guess it's, so my recollection is the old agreement said basically the Army was in charge of securing and doing almost everything inside the ISD. Is that what that's what this lease still does? Basically,
Same terms and condition. This is a short-term lease. There's two leases, long-term, short-term. Short-term is the revenue lease for us and very little maintenance responsibility. Long-term lease, they take care of 100%.
Okay. Any further questions to David?
It's a great tenant. We're lucky to have him.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
We have a Lugene Upton.
Yes.
Ms. Upton, would you like to speak to item number 5?
No, I signed up for the wrong one.
Okay.
So I will pass.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I've served the immigrant mothers and children for 30 years in the New Orleans area. Loved them very much. So that's why I wanted to be here today to speak for their life.
Okay.
Have to be a voice for them.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Hearing no further comments, we'll call the question. All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the motion to approve the resolution amending Part 2 of the EEID Code of Ordinances and Policies by adding Chapter 9, Public Demonstrations, to provide for the reasonable content, neutral regulation
Shame! 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 Shame!
Is there a fire marshal code that
Probably is.
violating access?
All right.
Really show me.
Once again, to provide for the reasonable content-neutral regulation of public demonstrations, protests, rallies, vigils, picketing, and other expressive assemblies upon property owned and controlled by the district, to establish a permitting procedure for certain planned demonstrations, to provide for spontaneous demonstrations, to prohibit demonstrations within airport terminals, terminal operation frontage zones, leased property, and other non-public areas owned and controlled by the district, and to otherwise provide with respect thereoto.
So moved.
It's already been moved and seconded.
It has been moved and seconded?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a motion to amend that I'm going to ask if the original mover, Mr. Weems, and the seconder, Mr. Crump, will accept. It is a motion to amend section 9-20, section A, with the following language. The organizer or authorized representative of every planned demonstration or expressive assembly proposed to be conducted upon EEIDD property shall provide written notice of the planned activity to the executive director not less than 72 hours before the proposed commencement of the activity in the manner provided under this section, and add a new section B that will read, the executive director, upon receiving notice required under subsection A, shall determine whether any of the criteria under section 9-2F are met. If such criteria is met, the executive director shall require the organizer or authorized representative to submit a permit application in accordance with this section. And then lastly, to renumber the remaining sections of 9-20 accordingly. And I would ask that that be accepted as a friendly amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I made the original motion and I will accept that as a friendly amendment.
Okay, thank you.
I'll accept the second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I be recognized for a personal privilege.
Yes, sir, Ms. O'Quinn?
Okay, the majority of the commissioners have agreed to a special called meeting on September 8th to discuss the airport staging center. And I've got the letter here, signed by the majority of the board. And so I think that there may be a lot of people wanting to talk about that at today's meeting or squeeze that in. And this meeting, special called meeting, would actually be called to address that specific topic.
Okay.
That's just a statement.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's what I called you about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Matt?
Steve about.
Thank you, Commissioners. So just a brief background. I know Mr. Winstead already offered a friendly amendment, which was accepted by Mr. Weems and Mr. Crump. Some background. This resolution proposes to add a Chapter 9 to the existing England Economic and Industrial Development District ordinances and policies. The resolution was introduced at last month's meeting, laid over and publicized in our Journal of Record, the Alexandria Town Talk. I believe it ran Sunday and Wednesday of this past week. And the resolution itself has been up on the website since the introduction last month for the public's review. I'll answer any questions that the commissioners may have. It's a 19-page document. I don't want to waste y'all's time to read it verbatim. I do know that there's, I think, another friendly amendment and then 3 amendments that were circulated to me by Mr. Lawson earlier, some of which may be rendered moot based on the other friendly amendment.
Mr. Chairman, could I be recognized first?
Yes, sir. Ms. McPherson?
I had a concern about the insurance requirement. I believe it was Ms. Wagner that mentioned that she had been told $1 million at one point. And I actually contacted my insurance company. I reached out to some others, and I talked with both Matt and Ralph, and it does seem to be burdensome to try to get that type of insurance for this type of event. And I think that they're both comfortable that we just remove the insurance requirement from the ordinance.
That is in reference to a requirement for an insurance policy.
Yeah, I apologize if I didn't state it properly.
Yeah, that's
But
okay.
That's the.
Yes, we have
that's the
heard,
amendment.
the commissioners have had discussions, we've had discussions with legal and administration, and we have heard and recognized from the members of the public that the potential insurance requirement would be burdensome and would potentially interfere with anyone's First Amendment and their amendment to free speech and to gather. So, I think this is, Mr. McPherson is raising the question that we just consider scratching that completely.
Well, let me just say for the record, I'm not in favor of that. If you're gonna have a big demonstration or a big parade out here, we're not gonna have any insurance requirement. I'd be fine with small demonstrations or those for which there's no exposure, but I mean, that doesn't sound like a reasonable business decision to me.
Mr. Chairman, for purposes of discussion.
Excuse me, personal privilege, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Audience, you're not benefiting yourself to speak out while we're trying to have a discussion. Thank you.
Yes,
For
so,
purposes of furthering the discussion, I will second his motion.
thank you. We have a motion and a second, and the concept of the motion is to remove the insurance requirement. All right, so it is now open for discussion with the commissioners.
And I thought it was a friendly amendment that wouldn't be objected to, but Matt can explain it better, but from what I can understand is that there's really no great benefit that we derive from limiting our exposure by requiring it. But it is burdensome. It's just it's difficult to find anyone that'll insure that type of event. We are a public body. We enjoy certain things, and Matt could speak to that much better than I could.
There are. So, as Mr. McPherson indicated, the surveys were done based on some comments received last month about what these special event insurance providers or underwriters could provide. And what we have discussed was that many of these special event insurance policies provide coverage exclusions for the very activities that are contemplated by these expressive activities, and that the very few underwriters who will issue a policy, it's significantly expensive. And so that was the discussion that was raised earlier today before the meeting, was about possibly removing this because, as I said, many of the policy exclusion language would not provide the coverage we would benefit from. We would still have the defense and indemnification requirements of each event organizer. To address Mr. Weem's concerns, you could, I'm not suggesting the board do this, but just you could offer a side motion or substitute motion to make the insurance requirements to the discretion of the executive director based on any of the criteria under 9.2F. So if it's a significantly large event, the executive director could require insurance. And I think Mr. Lawson has a proposed amendment that would require board approval for the minimum insurance coverages that may address or ameliorate some of those concerns as well. So you could, as it stands currently, the permit process requires an insurance, the event organizer or authorized representative to secure insurance. The amendment Mr. McPherson is discussing, and it has been seconded by Mr. Winstead, would remove that entirely. There would be no insurance. If Mr. Williams, if you so desire, you can add a substitute motion to add that to the executive director's discretion, subject to whether insurance is required in a minimum amount that may be subject to board approval if Mr. Lawson's upcoming amendment is approved.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr. McPherson.
if you listen to what Matt just said, is the larger the event, the more exposure that there might possibly be, then that's when you would allow the discretion of the executive director to require insurance. The larger the event, the more exposure, because of the nature of the event and all, is going to make it harder and more expensive, if available at all, to have it. So de facto, you're saying you can't have the event because we're going to require insurance that you can't obtain or afford.
Well, let me ask this question. I mean, I don't know that's true. If it is, if insurance is just not available, or if it's only available at a prohibitive price, that's one thing. But I don't know that. I mean, do you feel like you've investigated it sufficiently to be able to make that statement?
We've spoken with our insurance provider. I've spoken with another insurance carrier, and I think Mr. McPherson, you spoke with your insurance provider.
Checked with
several as well. And that's Mr. McPherson raised that, and it kind of echoed some of the same comments that Mr. Hennessy and I were having leading up to this week's meeting. Just finding that insurance is not as widely available as when the resolution was first drafted. Again, special event policies are plentiful and available, but many of those contain the exclusions that we would otherwise be covered under. And to Mr. McPherson's point, it is significantly more expensive to obtain a policy that would cover these protests and expressive activities.
Myron, have you had an opportunity to look at it?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chairman, I was going to also add, personally, I have planned many events in the past, just in different capacities that I've been in. And usually when I do try to submit for insurance coverage, a lot of times they do ask, is this for a planned demonstration? And if you answer yes, usually they say they won't cover those specific events. So it is a very hard type of coverage to get for planned demonstrations, especially when organizers aren't actually like a formal organization or business entity. A lot of times as an individual, they won't give those insurance policies to those individuals. So it does pose a very undue hardship to those folks that are trying to do that, especially when you're talking about the particulars of our ordinance that we have here with those planned demonstrations with the where you're talking about having stages and blocking traffic, things like that. So yeah, it does pose a significant hindrance to them.
Is there, Joe, you mentioned situations in which the discretion of the executive director might be involved to require insurance, and perhaps that was part of one of his proposed amendments. Was that something that you had contemplated or not?
Actually, Myron was offering that amendment on my behalf. And that was that the executive director had to bring insurance requirements back to us for our approval because of that. But then in talking with Matt and Ralph, they came up with the same observation I did, that insurance for these type of event is not available. You know, from your background, that you can put a bunch of Lloyds together and insure almost anything. Might cost you $900,000 for $1 million worth of liability insurance. But it's just not a practical insurable thing. It's our insurance company, Brown & Brown, I think, said it. My personal insurance, they directed me to two other people that are in the events insurance business. One, Insurance One, I believe in Marksville, not to try to drum up business for them, and another one. And one of them never got back with me. The other one said that would be an uninsurable situation.
Okay. All right. Well, if it's just not available, or it's only available at a prohibitive cost, and that's not an unreasonable thing. But
that was our
I feel like
position.
we've looked at it. We've gone at it pretty quick here, but I'm relying on you, counsel.
That is based on the comments from Mr. Lawson, observations of Mr. Lawson, Mr. McPherson, Mr. Hennessy, and myself. We believe that removing the insurance is more of a hindrance than a benefit to us, and we support the amendment to remove that requirement from the ordinances.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, just are you now accepting it, or are you still have to vote on it? Because you're the original mover. So if you're gonna.
So I can block it all by myself?
No, we have to have a vote. But do you want to accept it so we don't have to vote on it?
No, I will accept it with the explanation made by council.
I'd like to know our current policies that we have,
They won't cover it either.
they won't cover this either.
No,
So
same
if something
exclusionary
goes
language.
awry,
Right.
we're
We're,
fully exposed as well.
well, we are a public body with certain immunities and provided to Louisiana public bodies under Louisiana law. So there are protections existing under the law, but our contractual insurance policies do contain the same exclusions that would make an event policy prohibitive to obtain. Now we do have some of our buildings that are insured. If damage were to occur to a commercially leased building, for example, there may be some coverage for that. But as far as personal injury, death, or property damage to a third person that's not covered under our insurance right now, it'd be subject to the contract language in our policies.
Could we have a liability in that situation? Because we
Can I answer
hosted?
Can I answer that question after this meeting? Thank you.
But, so now Trey, you were the original seconder. Do you want to accept it or not?
Yeah, I'll accept.
Okay.
So I think we're on to Mr. Lawson.
All right.
All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, in lieu of that, I have two amendments to bring forward the body. The first amendment is I move to amend the proposed resolution by deleting section 9-2F1, which states 5 or more participants are reasonably anticipated, and then renumbering the remaining subparagraphs accordingly.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we strike 5 or more participants are reasonably anticipated. All right.
So,
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Matt?
yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The amendment that Mr. Lawson just proposed and has been seconded would remove from section 9-2F the first subparagraph of objective criteria requiring a permit of planned or expressive activities of 5 or more people are anticipated. And so if adopted, then the list of objective criteria is reduced to 7. And any of those other 7 criteria would still require a permit. But simply having an event that has 5 or more people alone without any of those other criteria would not require a permit. If that, I'm happy to kind of expand that further if the board has any questions on that. So it just means that an event that has 5 or more people, regardless of any of the other criteria are met, as it drafted, would require a permit. If Mr. Lawson's amendment is adopted, that numerical criteria is removed, and the other objective criteria, which is content neutral, message neutral, would still exist, and that would be the executive director based on Mr. Winstead's friendly amendment that's been adopted by this board. If any of those other criteria exist, upon notice, the executive director would review it. The information provided by the organizer or authorized representative, he determines if any of these criteria are met, and then he notifies the organizer or representative, you need to apply for a permit because this criteria is implicated.
Okay. And then for everyone to be clear, once he determines that it needs a permit, that permit does not need insurance based on our last.
That's correct.
All right, great.
That's been removed.
Wonderful. Any questions regarding this amendment from the commissioners?
And
Mr. McPherson?
just so everyone understands, that doesn't remove the purpose, the individuals that are involved in the demonstration, sit-in, walk-in, whatever it might be. They could still be liable for any damages. They just don't have to provide insurance to cover those damages.
That's correct. There's still liability for the organizations.
And
All right. So this is.
Excuse me? Thank you.
This was not unless, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think this was offered as a friendly amendment, so this would be subject to discussion and comment.
Yes. Any further discussions or questions?
I'll just say, Mr. Chairman, that I was concerned about this when we're dealing with it in a vacuum and simply eliminating the provision. But I think with the prior amendment that we've approved that Mr. Winstead brought requiring notice, I'm satisfied that we can do away with this.
Okay.
I need to accept or accept.
Was this offered as a friendly amendment if I missed it?
If he accepts it, it is.
It is, okay.
And then Trey just
Trey?
has to accept it.
Do you accept?
You accept it?
All right.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I have one more amendment, which I move to amend section 9-24A by adding the word subject to board approval at the end of the subsection.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, and it is to subject to board approval in section 9.24 on permit fees.
That is correct.
Okay. Any further explanation, Matt, for us?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory,
Okay.
but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Yes, Ms. McPherson.
that was another one of my suggestions, and simply that just, instead of giving the executive director sole authority to set those fees, he would determine what was reasonable and what the cost was, and then he would bring it back to us for our approval.
Yes.
And my only comment is I think he's already required to do that. So this is just replicating what I think our ordinance is already required, but I'm happy to have it in two places.
Right, that was discussed previously with the attorney and administrations that either budget amendment or the budget year, we always approve the fees anyway, but if we want to do it, there's no harm to add this in.
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay?
I don't know if he wants to accept it or not.
Okay.
Charlie, do you want to accept it?
Charlie, would you accept this as a
No, I'll accept that. That's all right.
Okay, great.
I'll accept as well.
Okay.
Unless any other commissioner has any amendments, that takes care of all the ones that I've been notified in advance.
Okay, great. Okay, now before us is the proposed amendment.
As amended through the friendly amendments.
As amended through friendly amendments, this was proposed last week, it laid over, and now we'll take a vote. All right, any public comment before the vote?
I think there's a lot of it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Commissioner, Mr.
I may be
McPherson.
preempting you, but before public comment, there's going to be a special call meeting to have a presentation and a discussion on the Alexandria Staging Center, which is what a lot of you have been asking for. And some of us have raised questions, and we've come to the point that we feel like that's proper. So you don't need to come up here and beat us up on this and try to slip in all your comments tonight, because then you might aggravate us and we might not have it. If y'all can threaten, we can threaten.
All right.
That was a joke, folks. That was a joke.
Read through.
All right. Let's bring the meeting back to order. And again, the comments from the public will be directed and limited to the motion, the proposal regarding the subject matter of having protests. It's not about what to protest or the subject matter of what you want to protest. If you begin those discussions, we'll stop your comments. All right. First up, in no particular order, is Jacqueline Duncan.
I'm right here, and
Ms. Duncan, would you come to the microphone, please, and state your name and address?
Jacqueline Duncan, Boyce, Louisiana. And based on what Mr. McPherson said on the September 9th meeting, I will waive my comments until after that.
It's the 8th, ma'am.
It's the 8th.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Diane Mobley.
She's walking. She's coming. She's approaching.
so if you don't mind,
Ms. Mobley, would you come to the microphone and state your name
I
and
will.
address?
I'm Diane Mobley. I live in Pineville, Louisiana.
Yes, ma'am.
The comments that Erin and I have to make directly go together. So, and she's filled out a form. Would there be a chance that she could speak before me?
Yeah.
Sure.
She has a fear.
She was next on the list.
See, I
anyway.
thought that. Okay.
Erin?
Swapping. Okay.
Erin, would you please
Erin
state your name and
Tracy,
address? Thank you,
Pineville,
ma'am.
Louisiana. Y'all have claimed in the past this ordinance is about safety. The only safety you're attempting to provide is safety for you against criticism. Y'all don't care about safety for us, and I'll tell you how I know. I was going to tell the full story, but I'll try to keep it quick. When a woman pulled a gun on me on this property and I was forced to give the report to an officer who had earlier asked my non-white friend if she came to watch her family get deported, I didn't feel safe. When he essentially accused me of lying and said filing a false police report is a felony, in regards to the actual felony committed against me, I didn't feel safe. I have never brought a gun here. When we had a group of people out here who paid money to walk in reverence along a public path, there were no weapons. There wasn't even a single sign. We have never blocked a roadway, had amplified sound, or rallied in a specific area. We're trying to stay safe and within the law as we observe what is happening here. This ordinance does not provide that clarity. This blatantly unconstitutional ordinance is about silence, not safety. We've never had a protest on this property. You're trying to get ahead of it because you know that putting children in the hands of ICE is wrong and dangerous. You're keeping families together as they're being coerced to self-deport to countries they fled. You're sending unaccompanied children alone into danger, poverty places where they have no resources. That is destroying families. How does your family feel about this? Do they know? When history tells of the president who destroyed America, whose only successes were theft from its citizens and child rape, how are you going to explain your support for his racist Gestapo?
Ms. Mobley, stay on point.
Y'all need to stand up for this community and cancel the contract. If you're incapable of rectifying these evils, resign. We're asking you to stop it, and if you can't, you should quit and tell the public why. And you might still have a chance to preserve some dignity, even if you can't do that for the children to be imprisoned here.
Ms. Diane Mobley?
Yes, Diane Mobley, Pineville, Louisiana. I got my timer, okay. Today, you heard my daughter describe an interaction with authorities on this property. She and I have gone out of our way to work with law enforcement for all of our events to ensure the safety of all participants. Never once have I felt unsafe until trying to work with this body. In light of these events, it is incredibly difficult for me to believe that the purpose of this ordinance will in any way enhance the safety of individuals on this property. You cannot imagine how guilty I felt when I advised my child, who was the victim of a crime, to call for help from law enforcement, only to find out later that the ones who were supposed to protect and serve had made vile xenophobic comments and accused her of committing a crime. All of this is just a show of to silence our voices and prevent us from exercising our rights under the Constitution. You have chosen to bring increased scrutiny to the airport by approving activities that deny human rights, and then you publish a letter that says citizens have an opportunity to participate in the process. What process? What do you consider participation? You published a letter attacking a local media outlet and feigning indignation that anyone would dare accuse you of not being transparent. But history shows that nothing you do is transparent. I originally made a list of all the executive meetings, executive sessions that you held to keep the public from knowing about Project Pixel, Project Lightning, Applied Digital, and the LaSalle Corrections contract, but it would take me more than 3 minutes to list all of them.
On February 26th, when you entered into a CEA with LaSalle Corrections, Compass Corrections was an integral part of that agreement. And you were sold a bill of goods on what that facility would be used for. You know why they're no longer involved? Because they said that day that they are not in the business of detention, and the government is not going to give them the money they need for the type of facility they envision. To this day, no one has said what will happen to the families brought to this facility. Have any of you bothered to ask? Your own statement said that you were committed, your words, to fostering discussion, answering questions, providing public records, explaining board actions. 30 seconds. And engaging openly with media and the public. How? When? By letting us make a 3-minute statement that some of you sleep through, or castigate us for not staying on topic. But we do not deserve a response, and you call that transparency. So please spare me the righteous indignation that you would never be anything but open and transparent with the public. You proved it today when you said people could only speak about a term sheet that seemingly doesn't exist because nobody in this room can produce a copy of it. So do what you will with your ordinance, but as long as I live, I will honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice by using my voice to speak against public policies which dehumanize human beings and to advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves.
Evelyn Lescano.
What's your next?
Israel Holler or Heller. Let's go.
Give them 2 or 3 so they can have them.
Miss Heller is next, Israel Heller and Crystal R.
Hi,
And state your name and address, please.
good afternoon. My name is Evelyn Lascano. I'm from Baton Rouge, zip code 70810. I think Aaron's mom forgot to ask if she was going to get a reimbursement for the insurance she paid when she held a vigil here last time. So if y'all could maybe later discuss that with her. Yeah, she had to pay insurance to hold a vigil here. I'm assuming that's what happened when that altercation with the cops with Aaron happened. So actually, I hope not, because vigil, you know. All right, so first I wanted, today I am asking the board to decline adopting the public ordinance because of the amount of government approval it requires before people can engage in protected speech. I want to emphasize protected. As the ordinance currently reads, certain expressive activities would require people to get advance approval from the government, which raises a serious First Amendment concern. Additionally, many important decisions appear to be left to the executive director. The executive director would have a role in deciding where expressive activity can take place. Whether a particular activity requires a permit, what conditions might be imposed, what equipment or services might be required, and what fees someone has to pay. That gives one official a tremendous amount of discretion over people's ability to exercise their First Amendment right. I don't think that's something this board should approve at all. A person should be able to read the ordinance and understand what they are allowed to do. They should not have to ask an administrator whether their speech is permitted, where they can stand, what conditions will be imposed, and how much it will cost. And those decisions should not be made after the ordinance is already passed. That's especially concerning because we're talking about political speech and public assembly. Those are at the heart of what the First Amendment protects. If the board believes certain activities truly create safety, traffic, or operational problems, then those concerns should be addressed with clear, objective rules. They shouldn't be left open-ended.
1 minute left.
Also, children should not be placed in detention centers, and our community should not participate in caging children and families. Because of all of these restrictions that y'all are trying to pass, I want to also say that ensuring that if this passes, you will not slow down how loud we are against what is going to happen here and what we have seen at Dilley in Texas. There's no humane way to detain a child. Babies and children cannot be criminals.
Stick to the subject matter, please.
All right.
You have 10 seconds left.
All right. I want to end with the playground that's outside is but a Band-Aid on what, it's just a Band-Aid. It's not gonna, you're just putting, it's not butterflies and stuff and unicorns over something evil that's happening here. So,
Thank you for your comments.
thank you.
Ms. Israel Heller,
Or are you Miss Orr?
are you Miss Crystal Orr?
I'm Mr. Israel Heller.
Okay, all right. Israel, all right, please state
Hi.
your name and address.
My name is Israel Heller. I live in New Orleans. I'm here on behalf of Jewish Voice for Peace. I'm here to speak specifically against this ordinance that essentially is seeming to attempt to completely curtail our speech around this all-important and all-dangerous facility that is under discussion. I'm not even sure where to begin. The fact is, we are here in Alexandria, we're here in Louisiana, and we are on the same path that will make these places, these names, Alexandria, Gina, all of them, where we're doing business with the thing that cannot be named, that we have to sort of talk about rules of whether or not we're allowed to even be outside of it. No, it's this. The incompetence and the callousness of this board, I feel, has the potential to take this story beyond even the purview of this room. You're playing with fire. You're playing with the lives of children, of families. You are essentially taking Alexandria down a path that will put it in conversation with places like Auschwitz, Bergen-Belsen, Majdanek. Maybe it doesn't affect you.
Okay.
Dachau.
Please stick to the proposed amendment, sir.
These are places where humans were warehoused.
All right, you're no longer
You are
germane.
talking about warehousing humans.
Thank you, your
here.
time is up. Please step aside. Please step aside, sir.
Shame on you all. The blood of mothers and children will reside in your eternal souls.
Crystal R. Did she speak? Crystal?
Yes.
Name and address, please. Thank you.
Yes. Hi, my name is Crystal. I'm from Monroe, Louisiana. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, a psychiatric crisis therapist, a mother, and a person of faith. I'm not here to be disruptive. I'm here because I believe in the rule of law. And when a government proposes an ordinance that undermines constitutional protections, speaking out is not just appropriate, it is a civic obligation. I'm asking this board to decline the proposed public demonstrations ordinance. Scripture commands us, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. In Matthew 25, Jesus tells us, I was a stranger and you welcomed me. These are not suggestions, these are commandments, and they're why I'm standing here today. The rule of law is not a partisan value. It is the foundation upon which every other right rests. When we allow the law to become vague, when we allow unilateral authorities' discretion to replace constitutional clarity, we do not only harm the people targeted today, we erode the structure that protects everyone tomorrow. The First Amendment does not say Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech of citizens. It says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, period. The 14th Amendment guarantees due process of any person within this jurisdiction, not any citizen, any person. This matters because the people being observed at England Air Park and families in detention, individuals shackled and removed before their civil cases, civil, not criminal cases, are resolved. They are persons. They have human rights recognized by the United States Constitution and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and are every framework of international human dignity the world has collectively affirmed. And the community members who come here to witness that is happening to those persons. They're exercising a First Amendment right that exists precisely to hold government accountable, to see, to speak, to assemble, to petition. And when we pass an ordinance that makes it harder to observe and document government activity, we are not protecting safety. We are protecting power from scrutiny. And that is the opposite of what the rule of law demands.
1 minute.
The Constitution was not written to make governance easier. It was written to make power accountable. If the rule of law means anything, it means that no person, documented or undocumented, citizen or non-citizen, powerful or powerless, is beneath its protection. And no government body, including this one, is above it. As a social worker, I'm required by my license and my conscience to speak when I see harm being done. As a mother, by my heart. As a person of faith, by my God. And as an American, by my Constitution. And as a member of the human family, by every declaration of human dignity civilization has ever produced. Decline this ordinance. Let Alexandria be known for its conscience, not its complicity. Thank you.
Evelyn Lascano and Kavina, I can't read the last name, from Denham Springs. And a Kendall Berry. We're up.
Good evening. My name is Karina Guerrero, and I'm asking the board not to approve the public ordinance. The proposed ordinance would create geographic restrictions and permitting system for demonstrations, vigils, picketing rallies, and other peaceful expressive activity. It would also potentially require insurance and fees, and it gives the executive director substantial authority over how rules are applied. For large organizations, those requirements may be manageable. For an ordinary person or a small local group, they can be a real barrier. The First Amendment deserves more protection. Expressing our concerns to ensure that we do continue to uphold the principles that our Constitution has established, like establishing justice, promoting general welfare, and most importantly, securing the blessings of liberty, is part of democracy. All we are trying to do is protect and defend human rights and dignity for all. And in case you need a refresher on what our Constitution was established on, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. People shouldn't have to navigate a complicated administrative process just to participate in peaceful civic activity. We are just asking you to please don't make England Air Park a place where people have to ask for permission before they can peacefully speak, gather, observe, or document what their government is doing, which is incarcerating individuals and keeping them in places that are not even like safe for just safe in general, and no one should profit from imprisoning mothers and children. Please cancel the contract. Thank you.
Evelyn Lascano, Kendall Berry, and on deck is Dodra Cisse.
Hello.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Kendall Berry. I live in New Orleans. I want to talk to you about something that I think could get lost in the discussion of this ordinance. Not everyone watching what is happening at England Air Park is there to hold a traditional protest. For years now, people in this community have very bravely watched aircraft movements, photographed activity, documented deportation flights, and shared important information to the public, simply observing and recording what they see. This work is crucial as Alexandria is not a major media center. There aren't always reporters or attorneys to stand outside England Air Park to document what is happening. Local people have often been the ones to stand up and pay attention. Personal opinions on immigration aside, we can all agree that government activities should be capable of being observed and documented by the public. Yes! That's why I'm concerned about this ordinance. The language is so broad that it could affect people who aren't organizing a protest at all. Someone could be there taking photos, watching aircrafts, documenting activity, or reporting what's happening. And if several people are doing that together, suddenly questions can arise as to whether they're participating in an expressive assembly and whether a permit is then required. The public shouldn't need a permit in advance in order to observe and document government activity from an area they're otherwise allowed to be in. And this isn't just about immigration. The principle applies broadly. Today, it may be people watching deportation flights, and tomorrow it could be people documenting another government operation or another controversial development at the airpark. England Air Park has become an important location for the public to understand what is happening here. Restricting people's ability to observe and document that activity will make the public less informed. Also, children belong with their families, not in detention centers. Cancel the contract.
Is Evelyn Lascano here? Evelyn Lascano, Dina Norton, and Miss Cisse. Yes, ma'am?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dina Norton. I'm a retired colonel. I live in Pineville, Louisiana. I've read legalese, and in being in the military, you know how that can be. I read this and thought, what do we do with this? It is so broad. It is so unable to be able to get your hands around what's required. It sounds more like you're trying to prohibit people or place obstacles for them to do what is our constitutional right. I'm not talking about the topic. I'm talking about your amendment here. Establish a permitting procedure. What is that going to be? Are we talking a timeline here when they have to do 72 hours to get permission before the board? And then once you get permission, you then get the permitting. How long is the permitting going to take? Because if you have an issue that you want to protest or bring attention to, a lot of protest is simply to let people know and bring attention to. And if it's going to be, you can't do it till next week, or a second Thursday in March, that doesn't accomplish the goals of our constitutional right. And then you don't even explain about fees, because you're going to add fees on top of it. And since when do we have to pay fees to provide our opinion on a public issue? You get into things like you can't do it on leased property. I don't know what leased property is. Are you going to have signs up saying you can't protest here because it's leased, but you can protest here? I mean, how does the public deal with such vague things or restrictive to try to get into simply expressing our opinion and to call attention? And the public is going to read this and go, wait a minute, what is going on? And one in particular I find very, very big. There's going to be a permitting process to provide for spontaneous demonstrations. How do you get a permit for something that's spontaneous? I mean, really, honestly, I don't quite understand, Joe. You had said you were going to do a discussion about this later on in September the 8th. Why don't you table this and postpone it so you can have more public input into how this will actually be that's agreeable? Because I don't want people hurt. I don't want our good policemen to be put in bad situations. I want it to be an expression of our citizenship and the policies of our government.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you for your comment. All right, last call for Evelyn Lascano. Is Evelyn here? Okay. Cisse. Revo. I'm sorry? Go ahead.
Okay.
Name and address, please, for the record.
Greeting commissioners. My name is Dauda Cisse, and based in Baton Rouge, and I'm here today to speak on the motion for the commissioner to decline this agenda 6. Before coming here and when we start the conversation, few of the commissioners were already proposed amendments that's supposed to be removed. The reason is because it is bad. It is bad, not just for me, it's bad for you, and it's bad for the country because this motion take away our constitutional rights. I want you to see clearly the way it was written before all these amendments. Basically, it's going to prevent a murder from standing outside the fence. It's going to prevent people from just gathering or do a vigil or grandmother to hold a candle just in memory of children that either have been detained or been put in a flight to be deported. And in addition, I just want us to look into the intent when it was written. First input is 5 people. 5 people just standing and gathering and don't want to do a vigil. Now what happened? You need a government permit to express what you see that is wrong and report that. A deportation doesn't wait 5 days or 10 days. A grandmother want to hold a candle doesn't wait for that. So I know where this world lives, commissioners, when a government is trying to silence your voice. I came into this country as a refugee, and I've seen the pain that when a government says that you need X, Y, and Z before you can express. And that pain, my father was killed while I was 16. My family house was set on fire with my 7-year-old sister burnt alive. My mom and siblings were in there. But unfortunately, I lost my 7-year-old sister. Today, when I hear that our voice will be silenced, not to be able to express our rights, that same expression almost caught my hand. I'm just asking you all to revisit this. We, the people, our power is greater than the people we put in power. So please use it wisely so that don't pass an ordinance that can take that away. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and comment. Lutfon Rebo.
Rebo.
Omick. Next.
Coming. Yes. Yeah.
Would you please state your name and address for the record, please, sir?
All right, I want to start off saying black and brown power. My name is Lucian Rivo. How are we supposed to trust that this is really for the safety of the people when all the leadership in Louisiana haven't even made it safe for the people? Say, according to statistics, Louisiana ranked 50th in crime and corrections. How can we trust leadership when all the statistics show that leadership is failing? How can we say this for the kids when 6,200 children has been detained and locked up since this administration? 500 of babies locked up since this administration. Toddlers, from three on down. Toddlers. But it brings up a bigger question, because it seems like the safety of kids doesn't matter anywhere we see it around the board. It doesn't matter in this country because all we see is they pay us money to further lock up children. What we see.
Keep your comment. Sir, would you keep your comment?
Say about the safety of kids.
Keep your comment to the resolution, please.
I'm saying, y'all have failed. Hey, every spaces in leadership has failed. Not just here, the whole country. How is it about our safety when we talk about the safety of children that I'm pretty sure y'all should have, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it at this. We're not seeing that the lives of children care here, in the city, in the state, in the countries, in countries around the world. And as a veteran that served this country for an oath, we can't trust and believe that people in power care about the children when we seeing children affected in Congo, Sudan, Palestine, all through the country, in the hood, all the black and brown communities hitting this. Don't stop children from being locked up. It's like y'all don't care
Thank you, sir.
about children being locked up.
Thank you for your comments.
Children being undermined. Say about these plans y'all poses to stop us from being able to care about the lives of children, the lives of kids. Because y'all don't care about the lives of
Your time is up, sir. Please.
I think if you want me to stop talking, y'all should fix the problems that we already deal with and deal with this 50 of the state being 50 in crime and correction. Because it shows that if you can't change that, how can you really change what's going on with the children and really care about outside of the places that fight against the problems that we have in the state?
I don't know.
Good
Yeah. Keenan Omar, Omek. Rosemary Norton. Pebbles. Thank you.
Hi, O'Day.
Hey, how are you?
Fine.
Thank you for coming.
I'm glad to be here. I remember you from the heart of Spain.
Thank you.
Now you seem to be the heart of Alexandria. Here we
Thank
are.
you.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in front of a very powerful bunch of men, and I want you to know that you have the power to change any of the words that you want on that screen. And just step out and just say, I was raised with the First Amendment and I can protest. If you'll notice, we obey the policemen that are here. And I don't know anyone from anyone I've spoken to here other than just are kind of strident and kind of loud. It's considered still to be peaceable. And so I would like you to just trust the process of our Constitution and just don't deny any protests. Just the protests aren't necessarily against you, they're against the system. And I don't know if you've ever heard of that study that was done where they put rats in a cage and then they shocked the cage. The rats ran all around the cage. And they shocked the cage again and they didn't know what was going on and they ran all around the cage. They shocked it again and they started to bite each other. And it's because they just didn't know what to do with the system. If our system's just not working well, let's not bite each other. These are all Americans here or visitors of America. All of my grandparents were immigrants. And I'm glad they came because I'm glad I'm here. But I'm also very glad you're here and you put yourself in positions of power. So just trust your own power. And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, next is DC Skills or Sills.
He's in here.
Yeah, I am here.
Oh.
Hi, my name is DC Sills. I'm a reverend. It's not just a show. And I'm from Alexandria, lived here my whole life. So some of you I know. Oh, is it really? Oh, apparently I have a visual aid that I didn't know about, but okay. Let's see what it says.
That has nothing to do with
Okay, I don't know. I'm going to stay germane.
Please
So let's
do.
go.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But I do have a point of clarification for the September 8th meeting. Number one, what is the time? I'm sure that'll be public later. But number two, y'all said it was a staging area. Are we talking about the same thing? Are we talking about the buildings, that building right here with the nice big trees at the plant and everything? That in the contract, it says the word, the D word, the detention center word? Is that same building? Like that's what we're talking about? Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't.
And 4 o'clock.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't thinking of something different. So I would also ask y'all to not approve this policy. I appreciate the things that you've done. I appreciate the things that y'all amended today because it does make the path a little easier for people. But in my day-to-day life, I get to sit around and visit with people all the time. And I visit with this gentleman who is a retired Army or Green Beret. So he's pretty rough around the edges sometimes. But he is a constitutional scholar. And he tells me every time I visit with him about how anytime anybody, any elected official, any official, if they go against the Constitution, that is a traitorous act. And that as a traitorous act, he thinks everybody should be killed. But he goes a little far with things. I don't agree with that part. But he does have a point about there's a reason why our forefathers made this Constitution. There's a reason why it's still in place 250 years after they created it. So I would ask that y'all think about the constitutional rights of this policy. Safety is a wonderful thing. We do need to be safe, but safety has to be across the board. And if you have never had something that you were so passionate about that you would stand up in front of other people, no matter what the consequence, maybe you don't fully understand the damage that this could do to people who want to do that, who want to make their voices heard and to make sure that their community continues to be a safe place for all people. And that's my time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments. Jessica Kemin, Kemin, and McFadden from Shreveport. Kemin from Lovers Lane in Baton Rouge. Ms. Kemin?
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Jessica Kim.
Kim, excuse me?
And I live in Baton Rouge now, but I grew up in the Grundy Cooper subdivision off Bayou Rapids Road, just a few miles from here. I graduated from Bolton High School in 1970 and went north to college. Ultimately returned to Louisiana, but to Baton Rouge. My mother lived here until she passed away in the late 1990s. And when I sent postcards to all of you, I recognized some of your last names. And I believe I probably went to school with some of your parents, aunts, and uncles. First of all, I'd like to thank the majority of the board who signed a request for a new meeting to talk about the staging area. That's much needed, and I hope it will include not only what's happening in the detention center, the flights, but also this ordinance amendment to your ordinances. Until then, I'd really like you to postpone a vote on this ordinance until you have your next meeting to discuss the whole thing. The England Park Authority was created, I know, to make sure that the closing of the former airbase did not create an economic catastrophe for Alexandria and the surrounding area. And I realize it's been a difficult road, but as I look around, I see positive results. And I have to say that airport's a whole lot better than Esler Field was. But restricting vigils, marches, and other actions to bring attention to immigration activities and detention activities here will not stop the country and the world from knowing what's happening here. It's not the worst of the worst, but hardworking people contributing to their communities.
1 minute.
And returning to countries with violence, poverty, and a lack of opportunity. I saw information about a big plan to renovate and rehabilitate Masonic Drive. Apartments, nice apartments, walkability, that's all fine. But people want to live where there's a good quality of life and where they're proud to say, I live there, and they want to bring their friends to live here. And this ordinance and what's happening here will not do that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Do I have M. Gonzalez from the Southern Poverty Law Center in New Orleans? Rosemarie Norton, Jefferson Highway. Michelle McFadden, Louisiana Aid, Shreveport. And last but not least, Pebbles from Baton Rouge. Well, here we go.
Excuse me, sir, y'all didn't call out my name, and I filled out a card. I had the lady even tell me that she brought it back here. My name is Quick. Last name Quick, Karma Quick.
Dr. Holcomb, same problem.
Violet Wild also put one for this agenda item.
All right. You're up.
Okay.
State your name and address, please, for the record.
I go by Pebbles. I'm an activist clown, and I chose the name Pebbles because together we're an avalanche.
Yeah!
All right. So, and I'm a citizen of Baton Rouge with roots in Rapides Parish. I spent summer at my daddy's childhood home on Shamrock Street in Pineville with my dad and my grandma. He was a cheerleader at Rapides High, and I still wear his high school ring. So, and we're all here to support the rights of citizens of Alexandria and Rapides Parish, and I respectfully ask this board to reject the proposed ordinance. And do y'all smell that? Does anybody? Okay, sorry. I understand and support the need to protect airport security, emergency access, traffic flow, and public safety. But those legitimate concerns must be balanced with something equally important, constitutional rights. The rights in the First Amendment whereby Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And as I proceed, I would like you to ask yourself, do you have the resources to fight the violation of the citizens' constitutional rights? And it's good to know, thank you, that the gathering of 5 people no longer requires a permit, because my husband grew up in a family of 10, and now they don't need a permit to have a picnic. So with this ordinance, you could be required to seek government permission before assembling, but you know what? We already have government permission. Congress shall make no law prohibiting the right of people to peaceably assemble. That's the government permission right there. The ordinance prohibits demonstrations in broad areas. So where exactly will citizens be allowed to stand? Where is a map identifying those areas? Now, government may
1 minute.
Restrict content neutral restrictions to protect the safety and airport operations. But what I really know is what incident prompted this, all of this. I think you have a solution looking for a problem, because I haven't heard of an incident where this needed to be addressed. So people peacefully expressing opposition to government actions are actually following the law, the foundational law of our country. And one last thing, in closing, and I think I know what that smell is. In closing, I'll ask the board to reject this ordinance as written, postpone its adoption until these free amendment violations have been independently reviewed, the restricted areas are clearly identified for the public, and the board can assure citizens that peaceful speech, assembly, and prayer will remain meaningfully protected. Public safety and constitutional liberty are not mutually exclusive.
10 seconds.
You can and must protect both. Oh, and you know what that smell is? Your soul's rotting.
Ms. Violet Wild. On another issue.
Violet Wild, Alexandria, Louisiana. You guys have been put in a really hot seat by the people that appointed you, who are actually elected. The elected individuals avoiding accountability, and they're pointing at you guys. But maybe you were appointed to this position at this moment for something greater. Maybe you're meant to champion our hometown, protect constitutional rights in front of the whole world because they're watching. This is not about safety. This is about control. Who on the board even originally suggested this? Or is this another Ralph Hennessy plan? Use your unelected seat to uplift the legacy of Alexandria and make us proud of you rather than the cowardice elected officials that will throw you to the wolves to evade accountability. Whose name will it be etched in history, though? History is not kind to those who abuse human rights in the name of economic development. Please don't insult us with claims of fiduciary responsibility. There is no amount of money that makes this okay, not now or ever. The American Academy of Pediatrics says there is no amount of time that is safe for a child to be in detention. I hope that you are as concerned with safety and liability and potential deaths at the detention center or as you are about them at the protest.
Ms. Wiles, stay on target, please.
Trees can't hide evil.
Eugene Upton, Marrero.
Sorry, could y'all call someone who has to be at work, please? Karma, she need to get to a job in Alexandria here. Thank
Ms.
you.
Karma Quick. All right, we do not have a form filled out for you, but,
I filled one out though.
okay, I'm
I had
sorry.
a lady come up here and bring it up here. She even told me before.
Okay,
she
that's
left
fine.
out.
You have the mic, please. State your name and address. Would you
to
state
start
your
off,
name
my
and
name is
address for the
Karma.
record? Ms. Quick, would you state your name and address for the record?
Yes, sir. My name is Karma. I live in Alexandria, Louisiana. I'm a local here. To start off, I just want to say that what you guys are doing here in return, yes, it affects us right now, but what this could do is actually affect you guys all in return. Because what happens is once we start being able to make laws and do little restrictions like this, they're going to do it to you guys as well, not just us. But that was just a little extra piece I had to say. Let me get this on real quick so I can say what I actually have to say. Okay. I'm part of the Hispanic and Native community. I'm up here speaking today not only for the betterment of my people ethically, but also for our community here in Alexandria. As a whole, I care for every single human being who lives here, regardless of who they are and what they look like. The Hispanic community has been marginalized by this board, and it has been manipulated as something great. Sorry, I lost my spot. It has been manipulated as a great thing, and we as local community cannot even protect or protest the betterment of our people in our backyard. We have a right to protest, and I want to make it extremely clear to this board that I, nor anyone in this room, will stop at what, just because you're putting restrictions doesn't mean we're going to quit, right? We're not going to stop. We'll stand outside of where you have us restricted and we'll keep fighting. We're not going to quit. Yes, I know it makes you guys uncomfortable. How do you think I feel? Like, genuinely. How do you think, as a Hispanic person, how I feel? I know you guys don't care, but how do you think I feel? If you're uncomfortable right now, how do you think I feel? 6,200 children have been affected, 500 of them being infants and toddlers without parents or guardians. You're restricting us and our right, and you will not silence us. We will keep finding loopholes. The people do not want this in our backyard. We do not. We don't want our tax dollars to pay for you people to sit up here and silence us and to imprison families and children. I'm actually shaking again, clearly, because I'm angry, and you guys should be as well, because this doesn't just restrict us. This is going to later restrict you guys as well. You don't realize that your government is also trying to restrict you. I'm actually finished.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Gail Lucas.
Hey, all right.
Ms. Lucas?
Looking like Donald Trump in the Oval. Sleep over there.
Maybe that was the smell.
Maybe a little valuable.
Thank you, Ms. Lucas.
Retired teacher from Pineville, Louisiana. I came to speak to you about the detention center. I understand it was not on the agenda.
That's correct.
So I'm not allowed to speak to that now?
That is correct.
All right.
What I'm being told is we have a special meeting to discuss that, in September.
Okay.
Today's the comments, if you would, please, keep them to the proposed amendment regarding the
Right.
protest.
You 10 people have a lot of power. You need to, I don't see any women here, just 10 men. Where are the women? Maybe if we had a few women here, we could get something accomplished. I think that you need to, it would behoove you to listen to the citizens of this parish and this state. We have a lot to say, and you need to listen. I'll be back in September.
Thank you. Okay, that was Ms. Lucas. Dr. Holcomb.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Good afternoon.
Allow me to speak. First of all, I know all of you practically, some of you very personally and from long date, and for your good works in the city and your relatives and so forth and so on. So I'm not a stranger to you folks, and I know that you are well-intentioned, okay? And I'm here to speak against this. I understand, I think, why you're actually doing it, and it's not really for protection purposes or anything. It's not a good public perception to have people with signs outside your airport saying, you put kids in prison and, that kind of stuff. That's a very bad optic for a place that's actually a very good place. So, but I don't think this is the answer, because making it more complicated for people to protest and so forth is not going to solve the problem. As several people have said, they're not going away, they oppose this and so forth. And I'm not even going to discuss the morality of that because I've expressed my opinions on this already. But I think this is an error. And I think it's an error for two reasons. First of all, it can be challenged because it's First Amendment infringements and so forth. So I think there's legal arguments that this may not, stand on. And the second reason is I think it's really not for protection of anybody except the public relations. And this particular ordinance and some other decisions that have made are putting inordinate power in the hands of your executive director. Where is he? Okay. And I think that's a dangerous thing because the motives are different, where you come from is different, and putting more power into the hands of a single individual for decisions that are going to affect all of you in many ways, from liability to exposure to whatever, is an error. So that's really what I have to say. Now, if you want to hear about individual cases of deportees and all that, I'm one of the only doctors in the whole United States who actually see people in deportation. However, I offer my invitation for personal testimonies from men, women, and children. If you're interested.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Holcomb. Thank you, doctor.
Okay, that concludes the discussions and comments. And your name is? Please come up. We want everyone to have the opportunity to talk. If you fill out a form.
Christina Peterson. I live in Manny. And thank you all for even opening up the discussion to be able to reconsider amendments or however this gets reformed. As the folks have eloquently said before, this is really a First Amendment right. And the concern about insurance, I wonder how much insurance the Tea Party group had in Boston that brought in the revolution. Well, it is. That is the first. That's how we got to the First Amendment and all of our rights as United States citizens. And I really appreciate you all taking this to heart. And I hope that you will have some other meetings other than just the one in early September, maybe to talk about this in some kind of way of how this can get resolved. Because if they come to lock up the Catholics. I'm going to be standing there protesting, even though I'm not a Catholic. If they come to arrest somebody because they're a white male and over 50, I'm going to be there to protest.
Just talking to you, Steve.
Well, I don't know, maybe you might be 45. If they're going to do anything to restrict our brothers and sisters that are of this country, I'm going to be there to protest. And I do not want that right taken away because I honor you as my brother. I honor you as my brothers. I honor all these people who came here today as my brothers and sisters. And as a person of faith, I stand here to say we are all created in God's image and we need the right to be able to speak up. Thank you very much. And by the way, please approve that biochar because that's going to be one of the best things for our coast and the survival of the coast of Louisiana.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, that concludes comments.
I think there was somebody else.
Did you fill out a card, sir? Okay.
I did not either. I came in late, but I've always been able to fill in the card after the meeting started.
All right, we'll let the two of you speak and then we'll end the comments, please.
I also arrived late. Forgive me, but I drove 3.5 hours to get here.
All right, go ahead.
So it's not-
That'll be fine. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Crane. I'm from New Orleans. As I said, I drove 3.5 hours to get here, so forgive me for not being punctual. I am commenting against this ordinance to try and limit peaceful public demonstrations, protests, rallies, vigils, etc. Because it's not the first time I've given comment before a board. I have also given comment at the New Orleans City Council and the Port of New Orleans, and they are doing the exact same tactics that this board is doing right now to stifle our voice, making sure that comments can only be germane, limiting our time, and also limiting the fact that people cannot comment after they have come to the meeting, even if they've tried their best to be on time. I don't know what's in your hearts, but most of this entire ordinance to me just reads like you wanting to silence the people that you're supposed to represent. We are against you building a detention center for people whose only crime is to not be from here, which is no crime at all, but we're not nice about it. And somehow that's worse. We're not being nice about giving comments. We're not being sweet. And we're the ones who are supposed to be silenced. The constitutional right to protest and to free speech not only just exists in the first place, but the point of protest is to be uncomfortable. I understand if you're feeling defensive here, but the point of protest is to apply pressure, to make sure that all the work that you are doing is within our best interest and as people and as human beings. So trying to tweak it, try and stifle it and turn it into something nice and pleasant and non-disruptive, that's not protest at all. It's the difference between a protest down the street and just walking around with signs for maybe 30 minutes a day. And Zeb, listen to me when I'm speaking to you. These facilities are cruel and inhumane.
1 minute,
Your only
please.
crime is not being from here. I'm not from Louisiana. Does that mean that I suddenly no longer have human rights if I'm not from this state or from this country? The only thing that we are protesting right now is something that is cruel and inhumane. And you want to stifle us or silence us for the way we're saying it because it's not polite. Cancel the contracts and reject this ordinance completely. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment.
Bentley Hensel, 1924 Albert Street, Alexandria, Louisiana. I know a lot of y'all on the board. Mr. Weems, my grandfather's Albert Hensel, or was. Mr. Laverne, I went to school with one of your daughters and did Miss Miller's plays together. And all
Yes, absolutely.
Moved back at the end of last year from Arlington, Virginia, where protesting is a national sport. We try to finish up our protest by 10:30, 11, so that we can all head up to brunch. You bring your protest signs, you get a discount on the drinks. It's a great system. And, I was in the DC Runners where you do like a physical test. And if you're fast enough, you can, so when we're having our big old protests and marches or, outside of Stephen Miller's house, drawing chalk on the sidewalk, people need to get messages across, because when you got a couple thousand people on a street, you got to run them. So, you know, all the fast people, we ran messages. There's nothing like that up there. You know, that's Arlington, Virginia, or the other Alexandria, Virginia, DC. I mean, I run every morning right by the Pentagon up at the Capitol. And they don't need it. There are rules, yeah, but I mean, friends, neighbors, ex-girlfriends, like, people will not be mean here, but frankly, on the political ladder, they're a heck of a lot higher than anyone in Louisiana. You know, great date ideas go into the White House Easter egg roll, and they don't have things like this. And that is at the epicenter of everything. I worked on Governor Romney's presidential campaign in 2012. I was 19 years old, being paid by a presidential campaign at his headquarters. And for our protests, when we would have Governor Romney come in, we had 4 private jets on the campaign, spent, I think, like $500 million or something like that. We gave our protests water. Now, they had to stay in that area. Secret Service got real jumpy if they left. But, you know, we let them speak.
30 seconds.
But yeah, just want to say, like, I don't know why the Alexandria in Louisiana needs a whole lot more regulations about protesting when Alexandria, Virginia doesn't. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Atchison Brain. Thank you for letting me speak, and also thank you to the commissioners who signed the letter for the special meeting. The First Amendment protects 5 fundamental freedoms, and 3 are particularly relevant today: speech, assembly, and the right to petition. Not privileges granted by the government, but rights protected from it. Los Angeles, population 3.9 million, manages with 13 pages for their protest policy. Houston, population 2.4 million, 12 pages. England Air Park has apparently achieved something that they could not. It takes 19 pages for a permitting process for people who have not even shown up yet. I'm asking you to please, before passing this 19-page resolution, to ask yourself why people may want to protest. I'm certain that everyone in this room knows how frustrating a lack of transparency can be. For people in power, answers come easier. For regular citizens, answers aren't always given. A rule can be neutral on paper, but the application depends entirely on the judgment of the people given the power to enforce it. What one person considers peaceful observation, another may consider a threat. I have some experience with this very issue. In October of 2025, I came here with a Northwestern State University journalism student on her first paid photojournalism assignment. I sat in my car in a public area while she took photographs through a chain link fence. Legal, peaceful, no trespassing, no obstruction, no disruption. A blacked out SUV pulled up behind us and sat. I did not get out of my car because I assumed that if it was a federal agent, they would get out of their car to come and speak to me. About 5 minutes later, a Rapides Parish sheriff's deputy pulled up behind the black SUV. The black SUV pulled off, and the sheriff's deputy came and spoke with me. He was very, very nice and polite, and was aware that we were doing nothing illegal or disruptive. When I asked him if the person in the black SUV was the one who had called the police, he said yes. And I asked him if it was a federal agent, and he said no. That's the commission chair, O'Day Laverne. So the commission chair apparently thought that a middle-aged woman, a college student, and a camera were enough disruption to involve the police. I implore you to cut down. I'm not saying don't have a protest process permit. Just cut it down. It's 19 pages, and it has to be applied by people who all have different views of what danger might look like. Thank you, and thank you again for having this special meeting. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. The motion is before you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Mr. Nallen some questions based on the comments.
Please, go ahead.
And for everyone who thinks I was asleep, I apologize for having negative astigmatism and very thick glasses, but I was awake the entirety of last meeting and this meeting. Mr. Nallen, if the executive director were to make a decision that the applicant disagreed with, what is the process to appeal that decision?
Yes, sir. The ordinance, or the ordinances provides that section 927, there's an administrative appeal process by which the applicant can appeal to the board. Chair of the board for that process, if they're further aggrieved by the board representative's decision, they can seek judicial review, just like any other administrative decision is made to the 9th Judicial District Court or any court of competent jurisdiction. Furthermore, the ordinances don't inhibit or prohibit or restrict any applicant or organizer from seeking injunctive relief, declaratory relief in a court of competent jurisdiction. So they have multiple avenues to seek redress if they feel aggrieved by the executive director's decision.
I think Mr. Ben's got a question about it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hey, so Matt, that's my concern is how are we deciding what permit gets approved and not? Now, when I go through that permit required plan demonstration, my understanding is, well, and now we've taken out the participant number, okay? So the rest of them do seem to kind of revolve around the fact that we've got an airport and we've got businesses and even businesses like Robinson Biochar, for instance, that are out here that we don't want to disrupt. But what I'm asking is is the basis of approving or not approving just what's left under section F, which would be items 2 through 8? Is that the process to decide yes or no?
Yes. So having taken out 92F1, the remaining list is the criteria by which the executive director is to make a decision. That's content neutral, message neutral. Those are objective criteria that he is to use in his determinations. So there's a notice. He gets the notice, and if the planned activity that's included in that notice it meets one of those remaining criteria, then he informs the applicant or the organizer, here's the permit process and here's why the permit is required.
Okay, Matt, and I don't know, well, and I think some people might not know what is left in there. Because
Would you like me to read it?
If you don't mind, I think
Certainly.
that would.
So having removed 92F1, the remaining criteria, the activity is reasonably anticipated to occupy or obstruct any vehicular travel lane. The activity is reasonably anticipated to obstruct normal pedestrian movement upon a sidewalk or other pedestrian passage. The activity requires the closure, rerouting, or special control of vehicular or pedestrian traffic. The organizer seeks exclusive or reserved use of a particular area, meaning to the exclusion of anybody else.
Right.
The activity requires police, security, fire, emergency medical, traffic control, sanitation, electrical, barricade, or other special services beyond services ordinarily available to the general public. The activity will use amplified sound, a stage, platform, tent, generator, temporary structure, open flame, or comparable equipment affecting the use of EEIDD property. And finally, the activity is reasonably anticipated to interfere with access to an airport, public building, business, residence, leasehold, parking facility, or previously authorized use of the EEIDD property where the activity is anticipated to be conducted. As you touched upon, we have an airport terminals, we have commercial tenants that have their own private interests as part of that lease. We also have residential tenants that have an expectation of not having protests in their front yard or backyard, just because they happen to have a residential lease at the England Airport.
So is this, and I just want to be clear, is this in line with kind of what you would need if you were planning something like that in most cities, or?
Yes, sir.
You know.
So we did, this was not just crafted out of thin air or plucked from the ether. We looked at multiple airports, municipalities, both in Louisiana and outside of Louisiana, as well as universities, all of which who have, I think last total, Mr. Myron had asked, I don't know, 15, 16 representative public bodies, including Los Angeles airports, Miami airports, Seattle, Washington, just for some of those airports comparable. As far as municipalities, there were 3 municipalities in South Carolina, and I think Iowa City, St. Helena Parish. We had Charlotte, South Carolina, I know is one of them. we crafted all of those who have similar provisions as ours, and we kind of took what we thought was the best of each of those and crafted this. Some of them had many of those public bodies had the numerical requirement that this board has removed. Has survived judicial scrutiny, but that's no longer an issue. So this wasn't plucked out of the air. We did craft this based on other public bodies across the nation.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Weems?
Yeah, and I'm glad Matt's up here, and thank you for your hard work on this. We've had at least 3 meetings on it, and I just have some questions for you that I'd like you to answer for the public. In doing this work, were you instructed to make sure that this ordinance complied with all constitutional requirements?
Absolutely, explicitly instructed, sir.
Were you asked to make sure that the requirements that you did put in that were constitutional were reasonable, considering the nature of this facility and what we do out here?
Yes, sir, explicitly.
And in putting this together, did you do that to the best of your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge and ability, yes, sir, I did.
Thank you.
Mr. McPherson?
Let me, there was Dr. Holcomb kind of spoke to this. Ms. Norton, good to see you. And I think Ms. Brame, but this came about because a gentleman in this room raised the issue of if we want to have an assembly or a protest or something, where should we be able to do it? And somebody said, are we going to have signs that says you can protest here, you can't protest here and all? That's where this originated from. It wasn't because of anything else except for one individual saying, how do I know what I can legally do and not do so that I don't get in trouble? And it's got a little bit of legalese in it. It might be a little bit wordy. It seemed like that way to some of us commissioners. But what you don't have advantage of, and I don't know how many of the commissioners have seen this, I think I asked for if there was a draft of the permit. But I saw that at some point. It's one page. It reads who, what, when, where, why. That's what the permit application is. It's a shame that we don't have a copy of it to distribute because would kind of allow some of the hidden concerns or bugaboos that might be out there in this 19-page document. One of the things is that there is an appeal process, and that was a good question. And I assure you that there's members of this board that if we find it cumbersome, just like we did with the insurance requirement, we'll revisit it. We have that right and obligation, and we will do it. We think that this was designed to answer that gentleman's questions. It says, what can I do and where can I do it to where I don't get in trouble? I don't want anybody questioning me. I don't want anybody putting their hands on me. I don't want anybody limiting my free speech. And so this lengthy document comes down to a one-page permit with no insurance requirement, with no number of individuals that automatically triggers it. And hopefully it gives everyone a comfort level that you are going to be able to come out here, that you're not going to be on somebody's leased property, whether it's residential or commercial. You're not going to impede with the operation of the airport. But within those confines and boundaries, you are going to be able to come out here and express yourself as freely as you should be able to under the Constitution. But I wanted to have that background and everybody understand that that's where it came from.
Yeah,
I know y'all don't want to listen to me, but since you have said that you are open to public discourse over this, then I have a question. So I don't know who this person is you're talking about, but I came to this property to find out what we could do legally, and I was told nothing. I was told, get off.
This is going to fix this for you, ma'am. This is going to fix it. Thank you for backing me up.
Miss, thank you.
Typical, but thanks for the transparency.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Any further questions?
Who actually approves the permits?
Well, and who approved? I think we just answered that with the appeal,
We
but who would approve the permits, Mr. Mallon?
The executive, the executive director who are under the board. Madam, may I finish my answer, my commissioner's question, please? Under our court and ordinances, the executive director is charged with the administration of the airport operations facilities. This would fall under his responsibility under the permit process.
Okay, is that spelled out in what y'all are discussing about?
Any further questions by the commissioners?
There are things that are happening that are generating questions. I think it's fair to at least try to answer some. It's a simple question. Is the process spelled out in the document that you're about to approve? Does it say the executive director will approve the permits and you need to have it in X number of days in advance and just a very specific?
Yes, those are all answered in the question, ma'am. Those are all answered in the document, yes. Okay. Any further comments from the commissioners? Any further questions from the commissioners?
Let me just ask, let me ask this, because
Zeb?
the people proposing to do the protest will say where they want to try and have the protest. So there is not a defined map anywhere. They're going to request, and then it would be.
Well, the ordinance contemplates that the executive director is going, if this resolution is adopted, will prepare a map that will be publicly accessible. These are the areas, the airport terminals that are prohibited, constitutionally appropriate restrictions on airport terminals. The military lease this board just approved. Residential leases are off limits. Commercial leases are off limits because all of those people have private property interests involved. Of those public areas, as opposed to public-private areas, yes, there will be a map that will be generated and the public can see these are the areas that expressive activities may participate to, but the notice will also request where do we want to hold this. So that one of the reasons is that we can make sure that the area that they want to hold the expressive activity is appropriate for the size. If they want to hold it on a half-acre lot, but they're saying I'm going to bring 300 people, that may pose an issue.
And another reason why you would want to know where the protest is going to be and when it is to, I know in one of my areas of concern is if there's going to be one of these protests, I want to make sure that there's sufficient security to make sure that that they aren't then a target for others that might want to target them.
That's correct. In addition, the ordinance goes further in protecting free speech than some of the other representative bodies that we examined, in saying that just because the speech may draw criticism or opposing viewpoints is not a reason for denying the activity itself.
I think I'm done.
Okay. Any other questions about commissioners? Any comments? Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor of the proposed resolution as amended, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions?
Nay.
The ayes have it, the motion carries.
Yay! Absolute power corrupts absolute. Commissioner.
Next on the agenda, item F, comments by legal.
I don't know how much y'all have enjoyed hearing from me today, so let me just end this. I have no comments. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Any comments or questions about the commissioners? Comments by the executive director.
Yeah, two things. You'll be getting an email from Kathy the next week or so. We got two functions that we're going to be working on sponsoring. One is Fort Polk Progress, their annual update public comment meeting, public informational meeting. That's September 10th in Leesville. It's at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And then on September 22nd, the chamber is hosting Meet the Candidates for the 5th Congressional District. That will be out here at the Airport Community Center. So Kathy will be sending you that. Let her know if you're interested in attending either of those or both of those functions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, staff reports, financial. Could you state your name and address, please, for the record? Thank you.
We're only 1 month in, obviously, so there's not a whole lot to say at this point, but after the first month, we are 11% over budget on revenues and 11% below on expenses. Part of that is due to, we had budgeted one of our leases to start in August. It started in July instead, so that was an uptick of about 44,000. And then the airline adjustment, we based the original allocation of those costs, 33. And then we did a reconciliation based on actual employments for the month of July. So those numbers are going to change starting in August. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. The good news on revenue also is we had our highest parking revenue ever. So we're showing like a 97% approval rate from our new parking company. There's a lot of people that are actually taking the surveys once they leave the parking lot, and everybody seems to be really happy with the ease of the new software system. So we're really happy about that. One other thing I wanted to.
I'm sorry, but that was, I had an actual question on that because it was like a 65% increase over budget.
Yeah.
Is that projected out to be for the rest of the fiscal year?
So I asked them to send me their budget to kind of compare, and they did not budget. Actually, their budget starts in July, but January through December. But it's significantly lower. So no, I don't think they were expecting that either. However, I am going to watch it. We will be doing a budget amendment. Obviously, we've got some other leases we have to incorporate. So if this trend continues, then I'll definitely include that.
$500,000 to $600,000.
Does the trend in parking track the trend in increased deplanements because of, or enplanements either because of United?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to assume so. Scott probably speaks to that better than me, but yeah, I would think so. Yeah. So one thing I want to point out, if anybody noticed the dip in cash, there's a couple of reasons for that. A, we just paid all of our insurance policies, so that was a big chunk of change. We had a closure of the DOT's funding system for like 2 months, so I wasn't able to request funds there. And then lastly, we're in the process of getting our last grant on the runway extension project. So we're not able to do reimbursements until that grant finishes up being polished off. So that was it. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, this is not really a question for her, but I don't know who it is a question for. And it kind of relates back. Are we going to amend our website or do something for all this public comment? I mean, not public comment, but for the permitting. I don't know where that would fall.
Yes. And it would be under the England Authority button. There would be something added for this ordinance, what, the ordinance itself.
And the permit, and so it's all going to be on the website at some point before the effective date.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Not a problem. Planning and development? Scott?
Yes, sir. Glad to be here. I'll be quick since it's such a late hour. I have a couple of slides. You're going to roll them over. Some of the things that we just finished, if you noticed in front of where the old YMCA, we finished overlay. It looks very nice. That's phase one of overlay project we're doing on Vandenberg. September 9th, if you'll go to the next slide, we were receiving bids to overlay, this is through the state, DOTD, to overlay the entrance from I-49 and Highway 28, including the roundabout. So that'll make a dramatic improvement. It is much needed, and so we're very looking forward to getting this project completed as well.
Scott, in doing that, are you going to change the nature of the roundabout?
No, sir. It's going to stay the same. We're pretty much constricted without doing some major modifications. It's what we have.
I think it's a good idea since we've had large vehicles just blow right through the middle of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's not quite the size we need, but it's work. So we're going to modify it and fix it up a little bit. So it'll look a lot better.
Yeah.
Imagine by the first of the year, we'll be finished with that project.
Yep.
So is this where it's going to kind of connect in where Tom Davy was trying to get the state to do all that.
Further up. So
This is from,
what Tom presented to you all last year, that's a little further outside the north gate.
Okay.
But this is essentially going to start at the north gate, flow through the circle to the south street. And
to the bridge.
let me just add, we'd also like to thank the police jury for this because they've also, it's a DOT grant through the police jury and the planning commission to us.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? And then we have a lot of activity right now on our north ramp. This is what's out there now. Some of our partners from the 101st and 82nd here this week doing some exercises. So we're very pleased that they're here and glad that we can support them in their efforts and training as well. So other than that, that's what I have. If you have any questions that was sent to you on our other projects we have ongoing, I'd be glad to answer those, but if not.
Scott, the section of Vandenberg by the country club where it's kind of rough on those crossovers.
Yes, sir.
Is that scheduled?
Yes, sir. That is going to be taken out. We're probably going to go back with right now. We're looking at stamped asphalt like we have on the rest of the airport.
I kind of like it. It slows people down over it.
And it looked good when it was functional, but now it's
really bad.
That's what Grafton wanted me to give him $1 million to
go on. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Excuse me, I'm Reverend Constance McIntosh. I'm going to interrupt your meeting. I guess it was in the hall when you all voted on the lease. I just asked myself, weren't there? You voted on the stinking lease? What is the matter with you? Do you read your Bibles? Do you know anything about Jesus' gospel? Have you ever read Matthew 25, 31 through 49? You're supposed to take care of people. What's the matter with you? I'm going, son. And we are gonna come back. And I don't want us to get a fucking permit. Woo! Yeah.
That was very Christian-like. Thank you.
Oh, that's not Christian. Don't talk Christian. Don't do it.
Oh, you're fine.
Mr. Broussard, Economic Development.
Okay. The bulk of my report was moved to the front with our great presentation by Robinson Carbon. So thank them again for being here and also for the opportunity to invest in Central Louisiana. So we're excited about that project. Just very, very quickly, couple of things. If you notice, CLECO is doing a lot of pole replacements around the airport, just upgrading infrastructure due to increased activity. So that should be getting wrapped up pretty soon. But thanks to our partners at CLECO. If you noticed in that picture Scott was showing with the overlay, the new asphalt overlay, you saw the old gym in the background. We finished the conversion to 10,000 square foot warehouse, which I'll be out there marketing. We do have some interest in it from some folks due to some other activity in Central Louisiana. But new doors, new driveways, fresh coat of paint on the inside, and then we converted all the lights to LED. So it looks really good in there. So they did a good job.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Ms. McPherson.
David, I just can't help but mention, this is a building that was slated to be demolished at a significant cost, but now it's going to be a good, useful warehouse, and I assume new roof, new everything. It ought to be there for
It's got a new roof. The only thing we haven't done is some of the smaller areas where they had like the locker rooms and the bathrooms, that could be turned into office space if you had the right business that wanted that. So that's going to stay in pat, but the warehouse it's move-in ready. Yeah. So, and the last thing, we do still have some interest because of what's going on with Applied up the road. We have a group I'm working with out of Dallas that's doing due diligence on bringing the hotel back into service. So it's nothing negotiated, nothing set in stone, but there is interest, and just want to keep the board informed that we are working on that. So, and then last but not least on the housing, just real quick, England Oaks is 99% occupied with the one house available committed to another tenant. England Estates is 89% occupied, and then England Village is 65% occupied. But there's a number of flips and remodels in England Village, and 5 of those are committed, so that number will increase. So we're doing good there.
Okay.
Thanks.
David.
Any questions? Questions?
Any status on UCOR?
Yeah, so they're moving forward. Their engineering team was here this week. They'll be back next week. They're actually looking at an additional building for their lab. Instead of waiting to build something new, they can take an existing building and convert it. So that's good. They moved a large piece of equipment in a month or so ago, and they're also continuing hiring. So they're actually hiring some of the upper tier positions. Maybe another opportunity I can share with you some of what the payroll is going to look like, and most of the salary is going to be north of $100,000. So they're hiring aggressively now. Probably going to be somewhere in the range of 40 to 50 that will be on board by January, February. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Ms. McPherson.
David, Ralph showed me what I'd requested from you, and he's going to try to fill in. But when you say England Estates 89%, and you said there's 5 that's being remodeled?
That's in England Village, not Estates.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what about England Estates? Did you give the figures on it?
So there's 6 houses being flipped right now. 4 of those 6 are committed, and then I believe we have 2 remodels going on.
So basically, we're back where we are. We're 100% occupied with the exception of England Village.
Correct.
And are we still doing renovation over there?
Yes, sir.
How many did you say are under renovation?
I believe 2 are under renovation, and then of course we budgeted for more renovations for this fiscal year. Yes, sir.
Are they vacant because they're in renovation, or
vacant because they're in renovation? But there's also some that are just being flipped for new occupancy, and 5 of those 7 being flipped are committed. So
we're basically full in our residential,
Yes, sir.
everything that we have immediately available to rent.
That's correct. And this could, this was literally Monday or Tuesday snapshot. So, that can change.
Any further questions? Thank you, David. Air traffic and service report.
Good evening, everyone. July has historically been the airport's most active month for commercial traffic, and last month was no different. Total passengers flying Delta, American, or United reached 24,594. That's a 33% increase year over year and 9% month over month. Flights were running as scheduled. Seat capacity reached our forecasted amount of roughly 17,000, and load factors remained strong in the mid-70s for Delta and American, with United hitting an estimated 64%. American topped 5,000 enplanements for the first time in more than 2 years. Since April, they've been flying a greater percentage of E-175s, and this schedule remains in place through October. And then at that time, it will transition to more of a balanced mix between 76 and 65 seat aircraft through January. Although Delta's enplanements dropped slightly, 2.5%, they continue to enjoy the highest load factors of all our carriers, reporting an 81% load factor for May, and that's the highest in more than a year and a half. Like American, Delta is flying almost entirely 76-seaters and plans to continue doing so through next June, which is as far out as the data goes at this point. United completed its second full month of service with nearly 2,000 enplanements. They continued to fly all 200s in July and have even added some multi-class Premier 550s during this month.
That's good.
Moving on to total commercial enplanements, these are also up 33% year over year and 7% month over month. And in fact, we topped 12,000 for the first time in at least a decade. All of this data signals airline and traveler confidence amidst the busy summer travel season. As you know, leisure travel tends to slow down about this time of year, so we'll continue to monitor the data and maintain active communications with our carriers to ensure that we maximize capacity. Any questions?
Mr. McPherson.
And just very quickly, I assume somebody's in communication with United. Are they happy with what they're doing
They are
since they've come back?
pleased. Yes, sir. I was on a call with them a couple weeks ago, actually.
And they didn't take anything away from the others, it looks like. Huh?
Right, we are adding capacity.
That's good.
Any further questions from the commissioners? Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion, second?
Second.
No one being opposed, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Let's go.
This is Pastor Roger L. Green, Sr., pastor of the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We're welcoming you to our worship services on Sunday morning. Sunday school begin at 8 a.m. Worship services begin at 9 a.m. Come and grow with us, a place of faith, family, and fellowship. We would love to have you. Come see us Sunday morning. We'll see you there. Be blessed.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.